Welcome back. If I can ask you to take a seat, we will begin the next session on blockchain and the deep dark world of ICOs. Hopefully we'll get some clarity on what's happening and why. The session is moderated by Ivan Bielatsia, who's the president of the Serbian Blockchain Initiative, runs MVP Workshop, and is involved in the Celsius network, all in blockchain and similar initiatives. We have Branko Krsmanovic, who is the representative in Serbia for co-founded and is involved in the European Blockchain Hub, Young Ambassadors and other initiatives. And we have Nenad Paunovic, who is the director of the delivery unit in the Office of the Prime Minister, is also working with the Serbian Venture Capital Network and is the director of Edge Serbia, which provides solutions for businesses. So if you'd like to start, looking forward to it.
Well, first of all, thank you for having us all here. What I would just like to say as a brief introduction about blockchain and what are we all doing here is going to be quite short, but I will try to keep it as simple as possible. Blockchain is obviously a new technology. It started in 2009 with Bitcoin. What it basically showed us is that we can have an immutable ledger which can be used to transmit different types of assets and value over a decentralized network without any central authority whatsoever, in such a way that we are completely sure that no one compromises the system. Obviously, as I mentioned, Bitcoin, the first use case for blockchain was basically money or cryptocurrencies. But what was interesting here, and why I think that blockchain is also interesting as an investment tool in a crowdfunding sense, and also as a technology in general, is that it can also enable you to do this with any type of asset that can now be digitalized. What this means is that since last year, there has started being a lot of crowdfunding campaigns done on top of blockchain. Many of these projects have failed, obviously, because it's still a completely new field. But what did happen there is that it managed to surpass the number of investments from VC capital within the same calendar year in 2017. We personally and MVP Workshop started dealing with blockchain about 3 years ago, so a lot before this, and we were dealing mostly with the core technology behind these projects, not so much with the currencies and the tokens that happen there in these crowdfunding campaigns, also popularly called ICOs. But we were able to later be involved with a couple of them, such as the Celsius network, which was mentioned, which was a $50 million ICO. There have been also a couple other successful Serbian ICOs, which brought more and more good blockchain project to Serbia, and this is something that was noticed by the Serbian government and also by co-founded from Slovenia as an organization. So we have, let's say, representatives from both entities here. What you should know and understand about blockchain for this panel is going to be quite simple. You should treat it as a distributed transactional database. That basically means it just lets you put almost any type of real-world asset in a digital sense, and it can also let you invest in those tokens or digital representations of that asset. And the rest of the questions we will try to answer during the panel itself or during your Q&A session later on. Well, having said that about the panel itself, I would like to start with Branko from Co-Founded. Branko, maybe you can tell us first, just in a couple of sentences about yourself and Co-Founded, and we can kick off with the questions.
Okay, thank you. Yes, I'm Branko. A very nice guy, no matter that I work in blockchain. I'm Branko Krsmanovic, I'm a very nice guy, no matter that I work in the blockchain industry. Actually, I'm a lawyer, and I'm from Niš. That is, you know where the Niš is.
And we try to do something good with the blockchain there, and we will speak about that a little bit later. But I am also representative for co-founding for Balkan, and representative for board member in EU Blockchain Hub. So this is good for start, or need to explain something?
Yes, maybe you can just tell us also in a few sentences how did you get involved with blockchain and get co-founded here in Serbia?
It's a very funny story because they explain how fast this industry is. First time I heard about blockchain 1 year ago, concrete 1 year ago, when Slovenian State Secretary Tadej Slaktin asked me, do you know what the blockchain is? And I say, I don't have a clue. And he trying to explain me in next 2 hours, said I didn't understand anything. I'm a lawyer, and if engineering want to explain you what the blockchain is, no chance to understand in 2 hours. So actually I needed 3 months, and they called me to be in the first EU blockchain meetup in Slovenia in November of last year. And first time I tried to understand what everything is. When you see 300 people who sit in one big hall, when you see 3 ministries, president of government of Slovenia, and many things about how they invest in Slovenian project, how Slovenian project raise about $1 billion, I think, in ICO, then that can be interesting for you. So we try to organize something similar in Niš. So we organized first blockchain meetup, and thanks for you and MEP Warsaw was the present. And then we want to explain the people what the blockchain is and what is the potential. So in that case, we involved in that story and start to organize another things and another meetups and third meetup. And then we want to have a big accelerator who invest in blockchain startup companies to say the niche can be really a center for development for blockchain. So we collaborate, we co-founded. Co-founded is in some period was one of the biggest accelerator who invest in startup companies, and we start to do this. But also we want to show how blockchain technology really is, and that we trying to do in niche right now.
Thank you.
So just as one more thing, just to have a conclude, for 1 year is from first information what the blockchain is until now when I sit with you, I was like a member of EU Blockchain Hub and representative of co-founded, and another things we just want to say how fast industry is, and we need to be involved definitely like a country, like an industry, and like startups there.
Thanks for that. And, you know, obviously the Serbian government did mention blockchain several times in their expositions about the strategy, especially when it comes to technological development in Serbia. So maybe, Nenad, you can tell us more about your role and how did you, as you know, Serbian governments notice the opportunities behind blockchain in this sense?
Thank you. So I work in the office of Prime Minister of Serbia as advisor for IT and entrepreneurship. After, excuse me, after 20 years in business, I have joined the government of Serbia roughly 1.5 years ago in order to help with the support of IT sector and digital industries and the growth of that sector in Serbia. And obviously, I had some ideas about blockchain and about cryptocurrencies before, the most painful one being that a very good friend of mine really tried to persuade me to buy Ethereum in August 2016 when the price of Ethereum was around $10. Later it went to 400 and then almost to 1,000, and so I did not listen to him, long story short. And then in May last year, we had a delegation of blockchain enthusiasts, basically from Australia, that were visiting Serbian government and had some meetings with business representatives, and that was the opportunity to find out more about the blockchain as technology and really understand what the distributed ledger is, and to find out that there are other applications aside from Bitcoin, basically. And that was the time when maybe the whole world did realize that there is there are broader implications, and then the ICO mania started and everything. So in late June last year, when Ana Brnabić was elected Prime Minister of Serbia, in her expose, blockchain was explicitly mentioned as one of the technologies that we want to support in Serbia. So this is like the beginning, and since then we are really looking hard into what should be the role of government, and how we should support development of blockchain business, whatever that means.
Thanks. So obviously blockchain, is getting more and more popular as a technology, and we see a lot of implementations now being done in different types of industries. But what really did bring attention to blockchain to the whole world were cryptocurrencies and were different sorts of crowdfunding campaigns. So maybe Branko, with you being involved with co-founded, maybe you can tell us what do you think that makes a good blockchain crowdfunding campaign, or ICO, how they usually call it.
Yes, in the past 1 year we read 800 different blockchain projects from all over the world, and help 12 different startups to raise about $50 million. So the main thing is in campaign is community, like in crowdfunding, definitely. So I will tell one little story. It's 1 minute actually. It's about, and I always tell that. It's about one guy from Niš 15 years ago who tried to open an Indian restaurant in a city of barbecue. And everybody tell him, are you crazy? In Niš you want to open an Indian restaurant? No, that is a good idea. Everybody will come. People will come, Ray, like in this movie. And actually he do marketing very well. He have an Indian embassy in the opening. Every media spoke about Indian restaurant. He also have an Indian cook in that kind of restaurant. But he closed down in 10 months after that. So that is actually my story 15 years ago, when I was foolish and I was thinking that I am the smarter guy in Niš, and that Indian restaurant will be a good example. Why I say that? Because I didn't communicate with community. I didn't ask them what they really want. Is that a good idea or not? I didn't try to organize some Indian food evenings, or to explain them why the food is good. No, just go to the same direction. That is the similar thing like in the blockchain startup. If you don't communicate with potential community, like in Lean Startup, if you read that book, but it's very good, then you can success in the future. So if you ask me who is the community, that is a very good question. Who is the average supporter who wants to support your idea in the blockchain? So you said this blockchain starts with Bitcoin. So 10 years ago, Bitcoin was worth $1, and in the start of this year is $20,000. So everyone who have this kind of greed to want to success and to raise money very quickly, that is a regular supporters. Also, who explain what is other characteristic of the supporters. Does he love Star Wars, or does he love beer, for example? Yes, 70% of these kind of supporters love a beer and love Star Wars. So you need to know how to communicate with them. So when you use the social media and internet, you need to communicate like you spoke with someone who loved the beer and watching Star Wars in the same time when we want to invest. So your question is, what is a good campaign? A good campaign when you know what is your average supporter. And this kind of supporter is changed a little bit in the past few months, because it's not the average supporter is not the single person like, I don't know, 1 year ago. Nowadays, very big venture capitalists who want to invest your own ideas. So if you want to sell your idea, you call, I don't know, first business angel or first, oh no, maybe fund and ask, I want to sell, I don't know, million token to you. Okay, I will buy that. I will give you $1 million for that, but you need to give me discount. What kind of discount? I don't know, 50%, for example. And that is the strange situation because you have now venture capitalists who invest in the startup in the blockchain. But it's not fair for the regular supporters who actually pay the 100 price for that. And this is a strange situation, but good companion when you actually, but in crowdfunding classical, in blockchain, when you know who your average supporter is.
I think that's a great point, and I do agree that most of the average supporters in the crypto space in general are people who basically want to speculate and earn on the price differences. That is definitely historically true. What I would also mention is that I think that picture is changing a bit now that time is passing and we have more and more people realizing that some of these projects do not have the value that they thought they will have when they started investing in them. So I think we will have a more clear picture with people actually more and more interested in the project themselves. And I think that this is a good opportunity for also CSR or socially, enabled projects because it lets you do a global crowdfunding campaign without intermediaries in an easy way. And it also let you have a real value behind that project. But on the other hand, I do agree that currently most of the people who want to invest in this are basically looking for these bonuses or discounts and hoping to earn money and get rich off of them. That is definitely true. Serbia also definitely had its fair share of successful ICOs. Obviously, the first really big world's ICO, let's say, was a $50 million game credits ICO. In terms of, we have Origin Trail as a very successful ICO from Serbia. Celsius Network, which was mentioned, is not a Serbian company, but the ICO was handled by our company for them, and they are still our biggest clients. We are working for them now for over a year, and we intend to keep working with them for a long time now. They also started keeping some of the funds in crypto actually for some of the UN initiatives from last week. This is something which is rather new. We will see how will that go. But as I mentioned, a lot of these projects actually happened from Serbia, either from an engineering standpoint or the entire project was ran from Serbia. So how does the Serbian government feel about that? Is this an opportunity? Is it a threat? What are we going to do with this?
Well, this is a very interesting topic and definitely a topic of our deep interest. Speaking of ICOs, one of obviously good things is selling services, and capital inflow of foreign capital is a good thing. So this is the very big motivator for all of us working with the government and central bank to look into it in a really detailed way. On the other hand, the government needs to think of other aspects of both ICOs and crypto economy, and the ease of moving money cross-border. Crypto money is one of the things that is the big worry of authorities all over the world, because this is very easy for money laundering, for financing criminal activities, for all kinds of things that the governments typically do not want. And Serbia, being on a FATF grey list for anti-money laundering, is subject of even more detailed monitoring. So we really need to be careful about all of our actions. The very fact that some or most or whatever number being of ICO has failed and has many characteristics of Ponzi schemes and other not great things is also one thing to worry. So, long story short, we do want to support developing crypto economy. We do want to support ICOs being done from Serbia, from Serbian companies, from Serbian legal entities, money flowing into Serbian banks and being used in Serbian economy. On the other hand, we need to take care and worry about all the other things. We did have a meeting and we're in contact with crypto miners as well, so we are very aware that there is a significant amount of crypto money being held by Serbian citizens, and there is a very strong mining activity, especially when the prices were higher. So this is also one of the things that we're looking into. So another very important thing for us as a government, as an office of Prime Minister, is not to try to pretend that we know it all. We are having very close relations with the community, with the industry, with the Serbian Blockchain Initiative, with foreign advisors. So we do try to learn as much as possible, and when we move, when we act, to do it responsibly and to do it for the good and benefit of the industry, and not to make any irrational or damaging moves. So this is something where we do not know, we do not understand as a government crypto world on blockchain deep enough. So we do want your input and we do need your recommendations, what needs to be done, when and how, being fully aware that this is a very fast moving area where on a daily basis some country does something and we often see it going into vastly different directions. And so we are looking into it and for now trying to figure out what is that Serbia needs to do in order to really support the whole industry.
Having said that, and I can say that definitely the Serbian government is very open when it comes to these conversations. Where do you see, how do you see the world's timeline about actually implementing some of these standards in the blockchain world? And how do you see Serbia comparing to that? Do you feel like we are going to have real standards in place within a month, a year, 5 years? What's going on?
Well, this government regarding digital and supporting the IT sector is really moving really fast. So as soon as we figure out what to do, I believe that fairly quickly we can do it. We do understand that there are different, the first question is obviously what the crypto assets are. Are they money? Are they securities? Are they commodities? What are they? And then how to regulate them, how to tax them. Those ICO projects, are they all good? Are they all bad? Should they be monitored? Should they be allowed? So we see different approaches of different governments all over the world. So we really basically need to figure out what to do, and then from that point on, we will fairly quickly move, but we do need your support and support of the whole community to see what are the best solutions for Serbia.
What I can also say, and maybe you can just add a couple of sentences about that, is that obviously Serbia is not in a bad place when it comes to this, in terms that we had our Prime Minister presenting in front of OECD on this subject with a couple of Prime Ministers or stakeholders from other countries. So we were definitely recognized. We are talking about a panel of 4 or 5 people, it's not like everyone who wanted to come and say something could come and say that. So obviously we were recognized as a country which is able to bring some value to the table in those regards.
Yes, on beginning of this month, OECD, as a very reputable world organization, held a blockchain summit, and the first panel on that summit was what they call it a high-level summit with representatives of states, and they called the states that are considered to be fairly advanced in the blockchain world, and it was Bermuda that recently brought in Digital Assets Act. It was Mauritius that also launched some initiative and analysis about possible uses of distributed ledger technologies. It was Slovenia, and it was actually Serbia, the fourth country. So those fourth countries, and it turned out on that panel and on that conference that small countries in these new technologies actually have some sort of advantage by being more nimble and being able to move faster with less legacy interests and more interest to catch up, to leapfrog, so we can basically be kind of a leaders of technology revolutions, however strange that sounds at this point. But we are internationally recognized as a fairly advanced and open country to support blockchain and blockchain-based economy.
When it comes to blockchain in CSR and social movements in general, we also have here something called the Global Sun Foundation. This is something started by Craig Sellers, who is one of the people behind EOS. EOS is the world's biggest ICO with $4 billion last year raised. What Craig did here in Serbia is basically create a social impact, let's say, organization which lets you do charity payments for sick children in crypto, where you know, because it's on blockchain, that 100% of all the payments are going straight to the children, which is, I think, a really interesting use case. Branko, you know, with the CSR in mind, or with social impact in general in mind, do you know about any such other good examples of blockchain being used in, you know, for crowdfunding or in general in the social activism as such?
Yes. First of all, I want to ask you just to raise your hand if you understand what the blockchain is. You don't need to explain, okay? But raise your hand if you know to explain to your mother. Okay, I try to be as simple as I can. So, yes, that is a very good example. We also, today, Željka from UNDP, I don't see her right now, but they also have a great project with H-Tech company from Ireland, who actually track donation on the blockchain. So, if you know what the blockchain is, imagine that if you want to donate some money to, I don't know, you know this story about 8 years ago in Haiti, where the devastating earthquake was, and huge money was raised in the whole of the world, but suddenly there is no money nowhere. So imagine that you, in the blocks, you can follow every step of your donation. So first blockchain is you give to Ivan money. Another block is even go to bank and put the money on some account. And then you can track also who picked that money. And another block is where the money goes. And finally, when it goes to someone who actually needs. And imagine that you can change this information, because in every possible application, every node, every computer in the network. So what kind of security that means. And if we spoke about CSR and donation, imagine that your supporters for your campaign in every moment will know where the money is. So this is connected definitely with the blockchain, but imagine that you go to the supermarket, you want to buy organic food, for example, and you have some QR code on some roof, I don't know, polica, okay, and when shelves, and when you read this QR code will say you in these blocks from start, when you put the seed on the ground to the shelves, what road this product pass in this history. So imagine that you can track efficiently of your workers in big company, and how these workers support some project who can help in crowdfunding system, in social economy, in social entrepreneurs and similar things, because in every moment you know where the information is.
Thanks. Well, you just set something up, I think, for my next question, which basically, let's put it like this, one of the reasons that Serbia is in the position it currently is when it comes to blockchain, which is a very favorable position, is that this is one of the high investment return technologies, which is also the cheapest to enter. If we are looking historically, right now, what are these other industries? It's basically machine learning, it's artificial intelligence, it's big data, it's IoT, they all require a lot of more investments than a blockchain startup. So what are my thoughts there? You obviously are doing a lot of things in niche. Historically, niche was more hardware. Novi Sad and Belgrade were more software, maybe, in a way. So maybe you can tell us in a few sentences with this in mind, where are you currently with niche, and what do you see? Do you see blockchain as an opportunity for niche, and also maybe even for small cities, not just for Belgrade, niche, Novi Sad, Subotica, these bigger ones?
Yes, it is important to show how blockchain technology actually works, but also it's important to communicate with the national level and to advocate in some way how to, especially with regulators, to have some great laws for the blockchain. But if we spoke about the local level, it's very good to communicate in the local level. Why co-founded came to Serbia, especially in Niš, because co-founded was in Stockholm, in Amsterdam, and Los Angeles, Mumbai, Ljubljana, and Niš, because it's a very small town and we have a very good cooperation with local stakeholders. I want to show not what is the crypto way, but how technology really works. And we pick in one place every local stakeholders, Office for the Local Developments, universities, electronic and economic faculty, cluster of advanced technology, NGO sector, media, also the UNDP, USAID was there. And we sit on the one table. I said, come on, let's do it some smart, and let's show how blockchain can solve some real people needs. For example, the example is always the best. For example, you're driving a bicycle, and when you spend 20 kilometers, you will get one green city token, which you can change for some local service on the local level. For example, for parking service. Or you can recycle some bottle, or also get some green city token, and can change with a ticket for the theater. And in that way, you can change everything and support some social, and to solve some little social problems. For example, if you want to help people with disabilities, you also get a green city token. If you want to cut the grass in your area, also have this kind of, and you can pay the local bills with that kind of token, or have some kind of discount in that way. But the best thing is that young people from Niš will work on that projects. We want to educate them and help them to build their own startups in that case. So also we want to evolve the IT companies help them to tokenize maybe their own business and be involved in this kind. Also, that will be academy for the media. So if you have a media under your side, then they know what to write, on what to record, whatever, then you have a great community, and everybody can speak then about the blockchain in the good way. So that we actually do in past 3 months, and in next 6 months we will finish this application. And the main of our goals is to say in the end, yes, smart city, smart contract, smart niche. Why not?
I like that. What I just wanted to say is, we mentioned the community word really many times, and obviously the community in Belgrade and Novi Sad and Niš is quite strong. On Wednesdays at 9 a.m. we have meetups, regarding blockchain regularly in Belgrade. There are also regular meetups in Niš and Novi Sad also. So I would always encourage you to come to those. We are now running a bit short on time, so if you have any additional questions, we will be here for a while, but also if you just, try to locate some of these meetups, it will be really easy. As I mentioned, they are really regular. So in those terms, we would love to see you all become a part of this community in some way. So thank you all for coming, and thank you for having us. I'm looking forward to seeing you on more blockchain-related meetups in the future, I hope.
Thank you, Ivan, Nenad, Branko. Okay, we'll be moving on to the next panel. You must, unfortunately. So the next panel is on equity crowdfunding in the region and development of the ecosystem. Moderating the panel will be Mina Mujdolo, who is a researcher and blogger at Prodotto, along with Hajdina Rukavina, who is a project manager at the Green Energy Cooperative and founder of the Crowdfunding Academy. Oliver Pugh from Early Bird, who is the founder of the organization, and they have developed innovative food delivery services. We have Kristina Nikolic from Strawberry Energy, who is a campaigner and co-managed the crowdfunding effort on Crowdcube. So lots of interesting and diverse experiences. Also we have, are you here? Yeah? Sorry. Darmi is back again for another session, and will be giving us a short presentation on Thunderbeam to begin with, and then we'll get into the rest of the discussion. Would you like
I don't know. Can anybody hear me? Okay, so a little bit of history. I worked for 15 years in investment banking and in banking. Then was a consultant of EBRD for running the Thunderbeam operations in Croatia, and then I'm running the Southeast European operations. So history of Thunderbeam is that in 2013, ex-CEO of Nasdaq Estonia was actually bored at work after 12 years and wanted to start something new. Her idea was to teach students how to trade on a stock exchange. However, that never materialized because she met Jan Tallinn, who is the co-founder of Skype, who said, actually, that's bullshit. Let's do something else. Let's do something that brings money. Let's do something which brings value. And what they, in the end, wanted to do is to democratize investing in early startup companies and SME companies, on the one hand, and do it in a transparent way. So there are three, actually, pillars of Thunderbeam's operations. First is the data. So all the sexy words I can use now, but actually most of it's crap. We use artificial intelligence. We use natural language programming. We use big data to scrap over the web, where in the database we have more than 150,000 companies from the startup world mainly, where you can for free log into our website, to our platform, and see who are the founders. You can see what they do, how many hits they had, how many rounds of financing they had, even if they were not publicly announced, because we have algorithms actually which calculate, okay, the company is from US, from that industry in that stage, their competitors raised that much money, this was published, so you can actually track what others do. And in addition to it, usually when a company comes to us and say, we are unique, we are something completely new, we tell them, okay, just log into our webpage, go to the data product and you can insert your company there. And then the robots actually overnight check on the internet if there's anything similar. So usually there are at least 30 to 50 competitors all over the world for a unique product. That's data. The main thing that we are doing is actually fundraising for startups and SMEs. We do it in a very easy and efficient way because the founders are from Estonia. I think everybody is aware that Estonia is very digitalized. So even opening a company there takes 15 minutes, and the co-founder always says, give me wireless signal, is it in Belgrade, wherever in the world. I name the company, I put directors, I put founders, I open bank account. So everything is very efficient. Fundraising, currently we are doing for companies who are looking for between 100K and 2 million, because we have now 40,000 users from all around the world. If I remember correctly, it's 109 countries that investors come from. Investing into a single campaign. We use blockchain as technology. As I said previously, we don't like cryptocurrencies because we don't understand it. There's a lot of scam there. There's a lot of money which is not coming from clean places, but we use it because it makes something easier. What does it make easier is that when you invest into a company, if you would invest into a stock exchange company, you would need to go to a bank, open a bank account, then go to the broker of the bank, open an account there, give an order. This order goes to the stock exchange. The stock exchange, when the transaction is made, moves that to the central depository agency for clearing and settlement, and then later on for depository services. With the blockchain technology, you just eliminate all the steps. You have blockchain which actually saves all the data regarding all transactions, and that's it. There are thousands of crowdfunding sites in the world, and everybody is saying, oh, we are the best, or we are doing something good. However, what Funderby is special about is that we have secondary trading. We are the only ones in Europe, which means that if you invest into a startup or into an SME, immediately when the increase of capital is registered at a court register, you can start trading. You can put buy orders, sell orders, similar, although not the same as on the stock exchange, and more or less that's it. Our investors are investors who want their money back, which means I invest 10,000 euros. I want either with a startup a multiple, so preferably 100 times more, or with an SME, it's not multiples, it's a percentage play, which means I give you 10,000 euros, and per year I want a dividend between 6 and 13%. And looking from the experience, what we had in Croatia, in Estonia, in UK, that really happens. And we provide also, we penalize companies who are not transparent, who do not provide quarterly reports, because it's very inefficient to invest into a company, and then for 5-7 years you don't know what's going on, and you don't have liquidity for it. Is that it? Thanks.
Do you hear me? Great. Thank you, Damir, for your introduction. It was really useful. Hajdana, we can start with your project. You're working in a green energy cooperative, and you've done an amazing crowdfunding campaign. Can you tell us more about it, and what was it about, and what are your insights into crowdfunding campaign?
Hello, everyone. I have a video, just a little bit different. It is a crowdfunding campaign video we use on during our campaign, and maybe it is easier to show you what is the campaign about and project about. Just to be sure, this is a crowd lending campaign. It is based on the lending, not on the equity. It is different because we didn't give shares in our project. We open opportunity to people to give loans to us. But please, can you film a video and you will see what it's about. And I will talk
Znate
later.
da je Hrvatska na posljednjem mjestu po korištenju sunčeve energije u Europskoj uniji? Mi smo tu da to promijenimo. Bok, mi smo ZES, Zelena energetska zadruga. Mi vjerujemo da svaka lokalna zajednica može proizvoditi energiju iz lokalno dostupnih izvora i time postati manje ovisna o uvoznim naftnim gorivima.
Mi u ZEZ-u već niz godina razvijamo i provodimo rješenja kojima unapređujemo razvoj vaše lokalne zajednice. Bilo da je to općina, grad, otok ili kamp. Nas je u ZEZ-u 19. To su praktičari, aktivisti, mame, tate, zaposlenici ili vanjski suradnici koji već niz godina rade na građanskoj energiji.
Ono što smatramo osobito važnim je u kojem postotku će novi obnovljivi izvori energije biti u vlasništvu građana, odnosno lokalne zajednice.
I zato smo danas tu. Pokrećemo crowdfunding kampanju za izgradnju solarne elektrane na krovu razvojnog centra i tehnološkog parka Križevci.
Upravo ovdje, na ovom mjestu, građani prvi puta postaju ulagači u solarnu energiju.
Model ulaganja u projekt funkcionira na principu mikrozajmova. Građani i investitori mogu uložiti novce u projekt davanjem zajma zelenoj energetskoj zadruzi na period od 10 godina s kamatom od 4,5% godišnje. Sredstvima od zajmova zadruga kupuje solarnu elektranu i postavlja je na krov razvojnog centra i tehnološkog parka, te za to dobiva naknadu od korisnika elektrane. Naknada je fiksirana i jednaka visini predviđenih ušteda u električnoj energiji ostvarenih radom sunčane elektrane. Ista naknada koristi se za povrat zajmova s kamatom svim investitorima.
Ovo je prvi put da je solarna energija u rukama građana. Ovdje počinje građanska energija.
Ali u ovome nismo sami. Podršku nam daje Europsko udruženje svih energetskih zadruga i Europsko udruženje gradova, kao i brojne domaće organizacije.
Nafta, ugljen, plin uzrokuju klimatske promjene i uništavaju okoliš. Uz obnovljive izvore energije mi više nećemo imati potrebe za fosilnim gorivima. Ne trebamo više čekati. Mi kao Greenpeace podržavamo ovakve projekte zato što ovdje mi građani uzimamo stvar u svoje ruke i zajedničkim snagama uz proizvodnju čiste energije čuvamo okoliš i prirodu za našu djecu.
Projekt Križevački sunčani krovovi od iznimna je značaja za grad Križevce u smislu promjene paradigme i iskoraka koje želimo napraviti, a to je usmjerenost na održivi razvoj i obnovljive izvore energije. U tom smislu grad Križevci daje potpunu podršku ovom projektu.
Naš moto je energija u rukama građana i vi možete postati dio te priče. Priključite nam se i budite jedan od investitora u fotonaponsku elektranu u Križevci.
Ovim projektom započinjemo solarnu revoluciju u Hrvatskoj. Vrijeme je da Hrvatska više ne bude zadnja u Europi po korištenju solara. Uzmemo solarnu energiju u naše ruke. Idemo.
53 people, invest in a project. Solar power plant is now on the roof, is working from the last week. We did campaign in less than 10 days. When we collect all money enough to buy power plant, we stopped the campaign. I think we were very successful. We had a luck because it is first time ever in Croatia. The media cover a lot because it was interesting, something new. Power plant is not something new, it is technical known equipment, but this model was for Croatia and it was something what is innovative and what is new.
So it was pretty much easy to communicate with your community, with citizens, or was it hard for you to get investors to pledge the money in your crowdlending campaign? How hard was it to communicate the message?
For me, it was super easy.
Super easy.
Because it was something very interesting for the people, and people react very, very positive. In less, it was exactly 8 days. So it was very, very, for me, easy. We were very good prepared. It took us almost a year to prepare technical economic elements, and we had a very good preparation in crowdfunding and crowdfunding campaign, and for me it was very easy. But we had experts in our organization. I have many experience in running crowdfunding campaigns, so everything was okay.
So
at the end, everything was okay. Maybe
so
during,
you're
okay.
looking forward to have another project in the same meaning like the solar power plant on other buildings. So it's like the town is lending the roof, right? And then you will, what is the business model of
so we are working with the citizens of city of the Croatia. We have in plan 6 more cities. So after campaign, we didn't need to ask and search city. They ask us to do a campaign. So we have 6 more cities. Yes, they lend us. They give us the roof.
The roof, yeah.
And we buy the power plant, and then we ask people to invest in the project.
And afterwards?
After when the plant is working,
after 10 years?
After 10 years, the power plant is going to be in the ownership of the city.
And then investors will get the money that is saved from not using the electricity like
yes,
from the city.
The money from the income of electricity language barrier.
Yes,
we will for saving, yes, because the building is using energy at the same time power plant is producing, and the building is using not energy is not going in the grid.
Okay,
it's okay. Technical stuff. Don't ask me much of this.
Thank you very much, Hajdana. Christina, connected with the solar panels, you're the co-founder of Strawberry Energy, and you just finished a very successful campaign on Crowdcube. Can you tell us more about the campaign, and can you firstly tell us more about Strawberry Energy? How hard was it to get to this point, and what was your path to it?
Okay, thank you, Mina, for introduction. So, Strawberry Energy started 7 years ago as a group of students, and after a couple of years working on this region, we moved to Bulgaria with the first bigger investment from one VC fund, and then our path led us to the UK, where we established our business, where we actually established a company, and then a couple of weeks ago we closed our crowdfunding campaign. Strawberry Energy is in the field of smart cities. We are producing solar-powered street furniture, such as smart benches that offer different free-of-charge services. And I also have a video, so it's because we are in the business of both hardware and software, and it would be much easier to illustrate this whole business by playing this video. And this video was made especially for this crowdfunding campaign, so it will show you what is the business, what was the pitch, and why we picked crowdfunding as additional revenue stream and additional business model for our business.
Our cities are an essential part of our lives. Every day we are passing by hundreds of benches, bus shelters, phone boxes that haven't changed in years.
We believe they should bring more value to a modern mobile generation. So we started off with the only piece of street furniture that connects people, the bench.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, a solar bench.
This is the future of benches in London.
This is not just a solar bench, it is also a smart bench.
Power and connectivity are like the air and water of the 21st century. Our smart bench provides everybody with a full battery, strong internet connection and relevant local info. Benches can be upgraded with new features, making them true smart city infrastructure, prepared for our future needs.
Our vision is to create a citywide network, deploying hundreds of smart benches across our cities, so that everyone can have access and benefit wherever they go.
So how to get a bench? To do that, we came up with a simple and innovative business model. We install a network of smart benches completely free of charge to a chosen city, and then we partner with big brands, providing them with a unique outdoor digital branding platform. And the best part is, it's already a proven business model of brand partnership, similar to the Santander Cycle Scheme or O2 Arena.
There are loads of screens around, and that is great for advertisers. but something that gives back to the community and gives back to the environment, I think, is something that really inspired me and really wanted us to get involved with them. And then you have all the digital touch points. You have the free Wi-Fi, you have the landing page, and you have the apps, which has digital engagement on top of that. We're always looking for new, innovative technology to take to our clients. Brands want innovation, and the Strawberry Energy Bench is innovation, but it's innovation with a purpose.
Last year, we partnered with 3 London boroughs and successfully launched the network of the first 20 smart benches in London. We did it with 2 great partners. We started with Cancer Research UK and continued with Ford Motors UK.
Our vision is truly global, and our goal is to improve all public spaces wherever they are.
Alongside the Free Benches scheme, we are already selling smart benches globally. So far, we have installed smart benches in over 30 cities across the globe, making close to £1 million in revenue.
One of my prime drivers as an architect is trying to make spaces that people want to be in. The idea of these smart benches is one that's going to just get wider and wider. One of the reasons it was good is because of the team. I was so happy working with Milos and the rest of them. It's really good. It makes me feel good here.
But it's not just about the benches. Our cities are full of other obsolete street furniture that are waiting for their role in the 21st century. Phone booths and bus shelters are next in our vision for smart cities, and we are already working on projects to transform them.
Technology can do transformative things for cities, and Strawberry Energy has managed to succeed in a number of different ways. And compared to old-style street furniture like this phone box that doesn't really do a lot, they're really delivering a value to the citizen. It must be one of the only smart benches that's actually been in Downing Street. So it tells you a little bit about the traction that the company's already had.
The next step is to scale up our network of smart benches to London and other UK cities. We want to do it together with local communities. Along our other investors, we invite you to improve your city, because it's important to us that local people own part of their local smart city network.
We're really excited about the chance to collaborate and invest in Strawberry Energy.
I've got a 13-year-old son. I picked him up from school and I asked him outright, what's the one thing that we're always looking for out and about? And without even hesitating, he said, Wi-Fi and somewhere to charge my phone. And for me, that was deal done. That was why I got involved with it.
And it's time now that those small and innovative companies have a chance to transform the most important of all, namely how we live our lives, how society is organized, and how our cities are managed. And Strawberry Energy is a great example of a company like that.
With Strawberry, we have the chance to build something that will impact urban experience for millions of people around the world. And you have a chance to be part of that, helping us shape the future of our cities.
Amazing video. Thank you. Why did you choose to do equity crowdfunding? How's your campaign going? How hard was it to have a campaign? And what are some tips and advices that you can give to people that are thinking of starting a campaign, and equity crowdfunding campaign?
Well, we open up our business to both small and large investments, as we wanted to give people an opportunity to participate in this greater mission of smartening up the public places around the world. Most of our team is based in Serbia, in Belgrade, myself also, and it was basically a very strong marketing campaign done from Belgrade remotely to the UK market. Although Milos, the guy from the video, CEO of the company, was for most of the time of the campaign present in the UK. How we started? Well, firstly we decided to research a little bit whether there was some similar companies or companies with same or similar business models, and so we researched what would be the best platform for us, and we picked Crowdcube, as Crowdcube was and is the largest equity-based crowdfunding platform with the largest pool of investors who are based in the UK. And for us, being in between B2G and B2C section, we wanted to have a lot of investors on board who are from the UK. having them as both advocates, evangelists, and to be basically involved in our business. We wanted to create something that will connect with the people, because we are on the public place. A lot of people are using our benches, and we wanted to have that community building effect around each bench. So when some investors, whether he just invest £10 or some bigger amount to be involved, this is something that I also participated in, and also helped to build this whole ecosystem and so on. So there are a couple of advices that I would give, but also I know that we are short with time. So after this, we'll have a networking session again, so feel free to ask me whatever you want. The greatest advice I could give would be to talk with your communities, to learn who is your community, who is your crowd. If you're thinking about starting your own campaign, you need to find who are the hubs, who will spread the word about your campaign, who will help you in promoting your goal, your values, your campaign, your project. We had a great help from domain and industry level organizations such as GovTech Public and also Future City Catapult. Those are organizations who are actually relevant in the field that we are in. So they help us as evangelists to spread the word. Also, we had a great help from individuals who are very relevant again in that field. So basically, it was a very intense marketing campaign done from team from Belgrade, but also with great help from hired and outsourced film crew who made this great video, social media agency, PR agency based in UK, because we needed some thought leadership articles to follow this campaign. And it's a time-consuming campaign, but also it requires a lot of funds to invest before you even start your campaign, to prepare and to...
How long you prepared for the campaign?
Couple of weeks, although it's not a good practice at all. But as we are in the business with solar energy and solar panels, we wanted to use the sun, as this summer was very hot and very sunny, which is not so common thing in the UK. So we wanted to use August, although it's a very slow and sleepy month, but we wanted to use that month for our campaign, and the results were really good. We were overfunded. We are overfunded with 120%, with more than 400-ish investors being involved, both large one and small one. We are not completed with a whole legal procedure, so I don't have exact numbers, but those are rough figures. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. Oliver, 11 years of experience in startups. You had a successful crowdfunding campaign on Crowdcube? Two successful crowdfunding campaigns. And you've raised more than £1 million. Or I'm wrong.
Well, no, you're right. But that was for the company in total.
In the total,
so,
right?
So we actually crowdfunded 450, but we had private money come in as well. Like outside. So we did. Well, yeah,
We're really curious.
Let me tell you the story. That's probably.
You have a word.
Firstly, it was really good to see the UK kind of being at the centre of crowdfunding. When I first raised money for Early Bird, which was in 2014, we were one of the first 100 companies, I think, to raise equity crowdfunding money on Crowdcube. So it's obviously come a long way since then. You know, we're sat in Serbia, and Serbian companies are now setting up entities in Britain as a way to raise capital. you didn't mention, but a little tip or trick is that the UK has some incredible tax incentives for their investors. So they have a thing called SEIS, which is the Seed Enterprise Investment Scheme. Basically, if you invest, say, £100,000 in a company, you get £50,000 back from the government as a tax break, half of your investment back. If that company again goes broke, you get another 30% of your investment back. So you're actually only risking 20,000 out of 100. And I think with SEIS, there's even a way that if you've got capital gains, you can not lose any money. So it's a really incredible scheme, and I think you raised then the EIS, would that be right? So then there's EIS, which is the same, but you only get 30% back. So the UK is very much at the forefront of allowing companies to raise money at early stages. And I'm from the UK, and we used Crowdcube to raise a round of 125,000. Which, to be quite honest, crowdfunding is basically the hardest way to raise money. It's very public. You need a team of people around you really, really pushing the envelope. You need to get a bit lucky. You need one person to say to somebody else who says to somebody else that then chucks in 25K or, without you knowing. So there's definitely an element of luck, but I think there's also an element of planning and execution, which I can guarantee you the first time I raised I had no idea about, that allows people to be a lot more successful. People have crowdfunded multiple rounds, to great success. So there's definitely a trick to doing it. So I mean, we raised £125,000, and then we privately raised that year probably another 100. Then we raised £300,000 again on Crowdcube, and then we privately raised another 250, I think it was, and then we were actually privately raising an investment round for 500K, if I remember right. Yeah, it was 500K, and we were closing that round at the end of June 2016, and the UK voted to leave the EU. And one of our investors pulled his money out the funding round, and then we couldn't close the funding round, and we didn't have enough time to crowdfund again. And by the time we had an opportunity to sort any of this out, the company was bankrupt. We had to close. We legally had to close the business. So yeah, it was a tough time. Yeah.
Do you think that crowdfunding round helped you to get another investors later?
Yeah, 100%.
The private ones.
Yeah. So I was saying to you earlier that basically, so probably 90% of our investors were reasonably silent. 5% of our investors they followed on. So if we did a private funding round outside of a crowd round, we'd send an email out saying we're raising 100K. Does anybody want to put money in at this valuation? Some of our investor base would stick money in at that valuation. And then we had a cohort, 5%-ish of investors that were really, really, really engaged. But actually, they hadn't come from the crowd. Mm-hmm. They were people that they'd invested in the crowd rounds, but I'd actually found them outside of Crowdcube. Because not all of your investment comes from the crowd. I mean, I think when we did the first round, they said about 60% comes from the crowd. But now, I mean, I don't know if Strawberry Energy have any stats, but I think now they say about 20%, 30%. Yeah. So really, you need to be lining the money up elsewhere. I mean, if you've got benches lying around London that say, invest in us, it's a good way to find some investors. People get involved. They get involved in the company. We used to host lots of events. We had a product that we sent a healthy snack box to people in the post. So all of our investors got those once a week. So that was really good for marketing because they would tell their friends about them. Yeah, they're evangelists for your business.
Tell us more about the marketing. I read that you spent, if it's true,
300-400K on online ads.
Yes.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's a lot of money, right? But I don't know if anybody knows much about the subscription. A few people in here probably know about SaaS, right? So software as a service. So basically, our model was the same because it was a subscription model, but we had a physical product. We are we really had to grow because we had a high cost base. We had a factory up in Derbyshire that was producing the snacks and the boxes. We had a head office in London, you know, so we had to grow. And we also had to grow to show investors that we could grow, right? So the best and the fastest way for us to be able to do that was really hammer online marketing, like cash on cash on cash. And there was a return, but we didn't survive long enough to get it. I mean, like, if you look at your HelloFreshes, Cornerstones, Dollar Shave Clubs, you know, any of these subscription box businesses, they all spend heavily online, really heavily. So yeah, it might sound crazy, but it was just part of a bigger strategy, really.
May I add something?
Yes, yes, of course, of course.
Our campaign, we didn't spend that budget on promoting our campaign.
It wasn't the campaign, by the way.
Okay.
No, that was advertising spent for the business.
Okay.
In total. Yeah.
Okay, makes sense now.
Yeah. We'd spent it all before we got it back in. There's a problem.
That's a lot of money, yeah. Basically, we tried to grow organically as much as we could in this campaign. We used our benches as some kind of out-of-home advertising panels. So each bench was actually a small billboard presenting a campaign, along with all digital assets, Wi-Fi landing page, mobile app, Wi-Fi. So there was many different user journeys of how to actually invest in Strawberry on the spot while using a bench and while you actually using these services free of charge. But also one of the channels that showed as most efficient during this campaign was email marketing. A lot of probably 80% of our whole investment came from this channel. So this basically means you need to know your both private and professional network to know your crowd. Those can be friends, family, some rich neighbor, cousin, uncle, you name it, or some even stranger who will actually give you a couple of phone calls and then invest in your business if he believes or he is okay with your documents such as business plan, budget, and financial forecasts. So basically, we put a lot of efforts in email marketing. Also, we use social media for promoting our business, and that was done mainly through the LinkedIn. So the second channel was LinkedIn, and also we use a platform. We asked for a special treatments from the Crowdcube, which was actually hustling the whole platform of Crowdcube. So we asked for one-to-one, we asked for interview, we asked for showcasing our business, we asked for, there is updates report which is sent by a company who is raising every day or every week. So we asked for sending those short reviews about our progress and so on. So basically, it's a lot of effort, and you can imagine how hard it is to communicate 24/7 with, in our case, 400 people asking just this question or this on that. And it's a full-time job for us. It was a full-time job for us for, let's say, 100 days in total for a team of 3 people in Belgrade and a lot of agencies and subcontractors that we hired along this whole campaign.
Okay, big job.
Indeed.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Oliver, for your insights. Damir, you were talking to us about Funderbeam, about the companies that are crowdfunding there. Can you tell us something more about maybe the mistakes they're making and the good practice? So what is something that you would, give advice for companies to do and not to do at all?
Well, I would say the biggest part is to send a clear and easy message on what you are up to, because if you look at the investors, I really believe they, and maybe I got it wrong, but I think they have a time span of 3 to 5 minutes to watch the video and to see do they like it or they don't like it. If they like it, most probably they will read the materials, depending on the amount they are putting. If it's 100 euro, you don't care. If it's 10K, then you start to care. Then you look at who's the lead investor. In our case, in each campaign, company needs to have the lead investor who is the only one who cannot sell for 12 months his or her stake and is investing usually 15 to 20, even 30, 40%. So he's the anchor and the front face of the campaign. Other than that, there are 3 things that the investors like the most. First, who are the founders and what team is in behind? Are the founders hardworking? Are they intelligent? And at least from our region, do they have integrity? Because if they don't have integrity, as one of the biggest investors said, you don't want them to be hardworking and intelligent, right? On the second hand, it's the product. So what product it is? Does somebody else do it? Like I said, usually somebody says, we are unique, we are the only one in the world, and then you find 100 copycats. Can you protect it? IP and patents. And the third, what's the size of the market? Because we are the equity crowdfunding site or the platform for investment, these 3 values basically bring you to probabilities in the future. What's going to be your revenue? What's going to be your cost base? And basically then it's, I would say, for a professional, quite easy to, and even for amateurs, to decide, A, is it okay campaign or the company? And B, can I earn money on it?
So what do you think is like the biggest mistake that a company can...
So if we talk about early stage companies, I would say that it's the team behind. If we are talking about IT companies, usually it's started and operated by IT guys. And believe me, they go in such a detail regarding things that nobody understands, and that people who will invest will not look through. But I think colleagues put it in the right way. You have to work really hard on materials, and I don't agree. Previously somebody said you have to write what you think, and even if it's on paper, it doesn't work that way. It's pure marketing, and it's pure, is the video professional? Because in 5 years' time, you're going to be seeing the same video, like when you see U2 playing during 80s on the concert with Bono, with the, I don't know, football haircut. I don't know what's it called. Yeah,
it's a bullet.
Bullet. Yeah. So you have to do it in a professional way on the one hand. On the other hand, a lot of work to say in 3 minutes what you actually want them to do.
Okay. Thank you very much. Does anyone else want to add something, some comments? No?
Good.
Okay.
It's the end of the day.
So thank you very much for listening, for being with us in this panel, and thank you very much for being our guest.
Thank you for hosting.
Thanks.
Okay, thanks very much for everybody for participating in our last panel. I'll have to wait for you a second. So thanks everyone for coming today. This is the end of our formal program. So I'd just like to take this opportunity to say that you can follow the program on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and you can keep informed about crowdfunding in Serbia at Crowdfunding.rs. You can sign up for the newsletter to stay informed. Please stay connected. On behalf of the organizers, the German-Serbian Initiative for Sustainable Growth and Employment, the Poverty Reduction Unit, the Poverty Reduction and Social Inclusion Unit of the Government of Serbia, Brodoto, the Social Impact Agency, and the Heinrich Böll Stiftung. Thank you to all the speakers for speaking, and thank all of you for coming. We'll now have a period of networking, which I think is the opportunity to have a drink and relax a bit.